welcome to Music for the Macabre. I'm Kerry, this is Evelyn, we're your hosts. Together we are the Dread Dollz.
Today we have the great pleasure of interviewing a member of a horror-themed British gothic punk meets hard rock band, Lesbian Bed Death. So you can hear their love of horror through their lyrics, you can see it in their videos and running through their artwork, and like us, they are female fronted. Yep. Tonight we have Dan Peach, who is the founder and the guitarist. Dan, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to it.
So let's start by talking about the band. It's a really great name, by the way, and not one that you easily forget, and I'm pretty sure that it's produced more than a few accidental Google search results. Not that it produced that for us. We were just fine when we searched for information. I'm tempted to ask how you came up with it, but given the amount of times I've been asked how I come up with the name Splinter Tail, I know it can get super boring answering the same interview questions, so super keen to avoid that, so I'm going to resist that urge and I'm going to just skip to the good stuff. How would you describe your sound to our horror fans out there who maybe haven't heard your music before?
Well, our music is kind of like a mix of punk, goth and heavy metal, kind of all mixed up in a blender. Sometimes we're a bit more on the punk side, sometimes more on the goth, sometimes a bit more metal, just to kind of keep things fresh and interesting.
The horror influences are everywhere with this band, like lyrics, artwork and videos. Do all of you super love horror, or is there like one of you that really pushes that element?
Bizarrely enough, our drummer isn't really into horror films, but the whole horror vibe has come from me, because the band started as my side project years ago, and I'm a huge horror fan, and I wanted to incorporate horror themes and elements into the band as part of the vision before we even started writing songs. So yeah, that's come from me.
Do you want a Higa?
Yeah.
You got your wee shot glass?
I do. You want me to hold yours?
No, I should be okay. I think I've got this.
That's it. I'll wait on you.
Oh, this is going to be brutal. So this is Jäger that we got from Germany.
Berlin.
No sugar.
Yeah, Berlin.
Zero sugar, so it's potent.
It's Jaeger though, we love Jaeger.
Yeah, we do. So, Dan, Lesbian Bed Death are about to follow up on your last album, Born to Die on VHS, with a new album that's just about to drop called The Witching Hour. So, we've seen the artwork already and we absolutely love it. It's phenomenal. So it's obviously got the Coven element in it, so
we like it. We
really like that part of it. So Scott Jackson, we know, was commissioned for this, and we know that he also did the artwork for the last album. How do you go about communicating your vision to him and, you know, really, I guess, getting across your ideas to an artist who's potentially maybe not on the same page as you are?
Well, I'd come up with the initial ideas for each album cover, and I sent quite specific briefs to Scott, exactly what I wanted, and he came back to me with these amazing sketches. That is exactly what I had in mind, and even more. It was just completely brilliant. What I like about Scott is that he's a huge horror fan, and he's a metal fan as well. So we're kind of on the same page. So when I say to him, for example, with the Born to Die on VHS album, I wanted the background to be a bit like the apocalyptic sort of wasteland on the back of Kiss's Destroyer album. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Same way with the Witching Hour, I wanted one of the witches to be a bit reminiscent of the I think she's a witch anyway, the woman on the front of Ozzy Osbourne's Ultimate Sin album. He knows exactly what I mean straight away. So he took my brief and really brought it to life, and I'm really happy with both albums he's done for us.
Okay, so you've released 2 singles from the album so far, The Scorpion and The Witching Hour. We know you're recording more videos for future singles, but it's just to ask how you've managed to do this in the middle of all the kind of lockdown craziness.
I think it's super impressive, like,
Aye.
to have more than just one video in a lockdown environment.
Full like official
Full
videos
length.
as well. So we just wanted to know, like, was there any limitations? Did you have to change your ideas? Like, just basically talk us through how you actually managed to do that, and amongst all the restrictions, I guess, lockdown.
Let's dance through the witching hour. Come dance with the dead. Let's dance through the witching hour. Come dance with the dead.
Not really. The big change I made was that I changed the order of the music videos, because the song I originally wanted to be the first single is a track called Bring Out Your Dead, and I wanted the band to play in front of a room full of zombies, but obviously we couldn't do that because of the coronavirus restrictions. So we did the Scorpion and the Witching Hour first, because I knew what I wanted for those videos, and they'd both be shot outside. And at the time we had the rule of 6. So we got round it that way. So yeah, I really don't like compromising, you know, unless I can get away with it, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, Dan, that's to be respected. Why compromise if you don't have to? Like, we've had to compromise and learn other skills, but you had a very clear idea in your head, so respect for you for going ahead and doing that.
No, absolutely. I think we're probably very similar in thinking, Dan. Like, we've had quite grandiose ideas before, which we had no budget for.
Yeah.
We couldn't commission the building of a set, so we actually taught ourselves green screening and went and bought like green screen equipment to basically make some of our more impossible ideas possible. So no, absolute hats off, respect to you.
So we've already sort of talked about the first 2 singles from the album. Can you give us any clues, like, in terms of theme or sort of character? Like, basically, what are we going to expect from the rest of the songs on the album? Can you give us a wee teaser, a wee hint?
And I think most importantly, is it going to be horror?
There's a witchcraft theme running throughout the whole album, kind of loosely. But as far as like specific characters go, there's a few that I've made up, obviously. We've got a song about Chucky from the Child's Play films, which we've imaginatively titled Chucky, because Chucky needed a tune. And there's also a song in there about Sabrina, as in the Chilling Tales of Sabrina. Is it Chilling Tales? Chilling something or other of Sabrina, on Netflix. I was absolutely hooked on that when that first came out. Absolutely fantastic. So I knew we had to write a song about Sabrina. The other tracks on there, I'm trying to think now. They're a mixed bag, really. And we've got a song on there called Molly Lee, and that's about a local witch who actually existed. I don't think she was actually a witch, though. I think she's persecuted by the locals. But we wrote a song about her, and there's a few other kind of horror-related things going on. Zombies, the usual, yeah.
Dan, that all sounds super exciting. I am especially thrilled to hear that you're going to be writing about Chucky, and I cannot wait to hear that track. I actually have the Chucky and the Tiffany doll like sitting up on a shelf, and I'm super tempted to go and show you my things, but I'm going to resist that urge also.
We can take a photo.
We can take a photo. We'll send you a photo, absolutely. So enough about the band for now. Let's put you under our microscope for just a little while. Lesbian Bed Death, as we know, has been a big player in the UK horror and female fronted local and underground band circuit for a long time now. And you yourself, I would personally say you've been a great advocate of showcasing and helping out other bands to get their music out there. So you actually helped us. So you put Splinter Halo on one of your gig lineups. We were struggling to break into basically down south, so we absolutely were playing Scotland very frequently, but we're struggling to get gigs down south, and you stepped up and put us on. Do you miss gigging, and how important do you think it is to keep the live scene going as we start to come out of the other side of the pandemic?
Yes, I miss gigging. I miss good gigs anyway. I think I need to answer that question quite honestly, and the truth is that most musicians don't really help each other that much. I mean, a small percentage do. A small percentage are very kind of like punk-minded and very cool. But I mean, a wise old owl once said to me that you know, people in bands only care about their own bands, and there's sadly a lot of truth in that. I think to go forward, musicians need to really think about supply and demand, and that means to make the best records that we possibly can, make awesome music videos, and to really want, you know, to get our fans to really want to kind of leave their houses and get away from Netflix and make the effort to actually physically come to our shows, and that's a big deal. But I think the onus is on the bands to just be as awesome as possible, and to make sure that the demand is there so we can, you know, not play to empty rooms. I think with coronavirus, a lot of the venues have been absolutely battered, and the days of putting on local bands that play in front of 6 people, I mean, they're over. They can't afford to sustain that anymore. So we're going to have to step our game up, basically.
Sorry, Dan, 2 seconds. Did you take the string vest off our Jaeger bottle?
Aye.
Why? I like it on it. It's so we know it comes from like the airport and stuff.
Right, okay.
Put a string vest on.
What, like Ramsey Nisbet?
Exactly. It's like Scottish.
Yeah, I'll let you do the honours.
Scottish Neddy Jaeger. I don't know. I just like it. Totally not important, Dan, but important to me.
Do you want another?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Will we be able to interview Dan if we're...
Yeah, we're good. Okay. Dan's fine with it. Let's get to the juicy stuff, Dan. What's your favourite horror movie of all time and why?
Oh, that's a brutal question. That's really unfair. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to give you a couple. No, I'm going to give you 3. My 3 favourite of all time, because I'm rebelling here. You know what I mean? It's got to be Return of the Living Dead, which is, I've seen that so many times I've forgotten. The Lost Boys, exactly the same. I've lost count how many times I've seen that. I adore that film. And also Friday the 13th Part 6, which is one that a lot of people hate, but I absolutely love that. It's the one with Alice Cooper and the theme tune. It's a brilliant film. But those 3, I've seen them countless times, and I could watch them again right now. I just absolutely love them. There's something timeless about them.
So, Dan, I would say those are kind of controversial movie choices, and to be honest, I'm not sure I'm with you on the Friday the 13th Part 6. I fall into the camp of not liking that. However, the Living Dead movies, absolutely super love. Zombie movies, poor Kerry here, cannot watch them by herself. And certainly not after probably about 8 o'clock at night.
When it gets dark, no.
Yeah.
No.
But on to another controversial topic, or controversial certainly for us.
Yeah.
Stephen King. Now, we are very much divided on this. I think he is awesome, and he is the writer that I go back to the most as a fan of the horror genre. Kerry, I'm sure you can elaborate on your thoughts.
The stuff you love, I hate. I don't think he's a great horror writer. He over-explains.
What the
Personally,
fuck?
think he should have been a screenwriter because his actual stories translate amazing to films. But reading, I'm like, blah, scan read, cliche.
There's no
something
cliches.
else someone else has said.
No, he builds characters amazingly well.
He's sci-fi horror. Absolutely. Love it.
I hate sci-fi.
The Running Man.
I was just going to say I don't like The Running Man. What was the
Okay.
other one that you super liked? You're like, oh, I really like that. And I thought it was pish.
I can't remember.
Super pish.
Was that not The Running Man?
Can't remember.
Shit movie, great story, great book.
But basically, long story short, I super love him and think he's horror god. Although I do admit that he's got questionable endings sometimes. But Kerry is not a fan. However, what do you think? Do you think he's a genius, or do you think he's overrated?
I don't like throwing the word genius around. And I certainly wouldn't say he's overrated, because, you know, the guy sold a phenomenal amount of books, and he's loved all over the world, and a lot of great movies have been based on those books. Yeah, I like Stephen King a lot. I think some of his books are fantastic. I love Christine, Carrie, The Shining, It. Yeah, Stephen King's cool in my books. Yeah, love him.
Okay, so you suddenly go just batshit crazy, you're rampaging with a huge machete or a weapon. What song would you choose to be playing in the background as you rampage?
Oh, I love this question.
Ooh. Probably the Misfits Scream. That'll do. Yeah.
So Dan, I don't know if you've seen our last interview with the awesome Kato Valim,
Final Disaster.
the Final Disaster from Brazil, but he and I kind of agree on what the best soundtrack all time is, and it's absolutely got to be Silent Hill. And I guess it's arguable that actually that comes from the game and not the movie. But in your opinion, what is the best horror movie soundtrack and why?
It's got to be the Return of the Living Dead. I mean, there's some awesome tunes on that, obviously by 45 Grave and the Dead Boys, and who else is on that fucking thing now? Hang on 1 second, let me find the fucker. It is here in my humongous CD collection. Look at that. Yeah, the Cramps, 45 Grave, TSOL, Flesh Eaters, The Damned. Just, I haven't listened to this for a couple of years actually. I need to rip this and put it on in the car. But yeah, I loved this. When I first saw the Return of the Living Dead when I was a kid, and I heard the 45 Grave track, Party Time, I just loved it straight away. It was amazing. And it's worth pointing out as well that this is from the time when soundtracks used to actually mean something. The songs were always in the movie, even if it was just a couple of seconds. Often the songs were written or reworked especially for the movie that we're in. But unfortunately these days you see a lot of soundtracks where it's songs for and inspired by the motion picture, whatever, and the soundtrack is just full of random songs that have got nothing to do with the movie at all, like Mission Impossible 2, fuck that shit. And it's a real shame because soundtracks used to be something really cool and really special, and I think we've lost that now, unfortunately. So yeah, Return of the Living Dead all the way, closely followed by again the Lost Boys and Fright Night. The original Fright Night's got a great soundtrack too. I'd highly recommend that one.
Earlier, Dan, before we started this interview with you, we thought we heard the cat scratching at the door to get in, and actually kind of thudding at the door like she does when she's been locked out. So long story short, our cat likes the true cable, so sometimes if we're doing something like this where the laptop, for example, is plugged in, we have to work her out. We had her thudding against the door. I went to open it to let her in and she wasn't there, so I went to have a look for her, and it turned out she was in a cat bed, which is quite a distance from here. So it absolutely 100% wasn't the cat. Have you ever had anything spooky happen to you?
Many years ago I was driving and I kind of felt like I'd forgotten where I was for 10 minutes or something. I was driving along, then the next thing I'm further down the road and it's like 10 minutes later. I don't take drugs or anything like that. I just don't know. Maybe it's late at night, but I don't know. Maybe I was abducted by aliens, and maybe they put something in my brain. I don't know. Maybe that's why I've got such a sharp wit, and it's actually aliens. That's possibly the answer. Maybe they're writing the songs on the new album. I don't know. I'll have to check it out.
Okay, so do you play video games, and if so, what's your favourite horror game series collection and why?
I'm not a massive gamer, to be honest. I used to be when I was a kid. I used to like the arcade games and everything, and but yeah, I've not been a massive gamer. I do have an Xbox. I want to upgrade and get the new Xbox so I can get the Friday the 13th game, if I'm honest. I tend to play the Lego games. I know it's not exactly horror, but I love the Lego games. They're very playable. Anything with Batman in it, great. Yeah, I'm a bit sad really. I should get into more horror games.
Okay, so do you have any phobias or fears?
Phobias and fears. I really shouldn't tell the world my phobias and fears, I guess. I'm not a fan of pigeons. They can just fuck off, especially when they fly near me when I'm walking in town and they go near my head and I'm just like, fuck right off. My other phobia, I hate needles. That's why I'm shitting it about this coronavirus jab. Everyone's going, oh, get the jab, get. I'm like, fuck off. I know I've kind of got to, you know, man up and have it and everything, but when I see a needle coming near me, I'm like, just get that fucking thing away from me. The weird thing is I've got tattoos. I mean, like, you know, I find it was like completely different. I've also got Skeletor on my leg, but obviously I can't get my leg up to show you that. But anyway, take my word for it. But yeah, I'm okay with like tattoos, but like needles, anything like blood tests or you know, shit like that. Like they get the fucking, oh hell no, I'm gone. I'm totally gone. Yeah, needles can fuck right off. And as for Saw 2, that scene with the big fucking ditch full of needles, that just goes right through me even thinking about it now.
Okay, so a killer virus breaks out and reanimates the dead.
Pre-on.
What would your strategy be to survive the zombie apocalypse then?
Yeah, I'm not sure really. I mean, it depends on what the zombies are like. If they're like the ones in The Walking Dead that kind of carry on forever, then we got a problem really. But in reality, zombies would like rot pretty quick. So I think you got to survive the first 30 days. And if you can do that, most people are dead, or most of the zombies have like rotted to the point where they literally wouldn't be able to move anyway. So, you know, short terms. So you've got to get somewhere safe for 30 days with lots of water. I'd probably just you know, get loads of water bottles, fill them up, put them in the car and just drive somewhere into the countryside and just wait for it all to blow over, possibly. I don't know, I'd probably run around like a headless chicken and shit myself.
Dan, we just wanted to say thanks so much for coming on the show, and also we super love your Terrifier badge pin thing, like
Oh, and Jigsaw.
yeah, and Jigsaw, but
Yeah.
I like we're also fans.
Art the Clown.
At the Clown, absolutely. I guess it's time to come to the end of the interview, but is there anything that you'd like to say to our audience before you do go?
I would like to say, continue watching horror films. It's very important and will fulfill you ultimately. Make sure you come and see Lesbian Bed Death on our next tour, because it will be really good. And if there's no one there, I'll cry. And yeah, buy our new album, because I need to buy a cabin in the woods ready for the zombie apocalypse that might happen. It'd be nice to one day retire to Beverly Hills, buy a big mansion and a Lamborghini, something like that. And unless you guys buy the records, I've got no chance of actually doing that unless I rob a bank. But then again, banks don't even have any money in them these days, do they? It's all electronic, so you're gonna have to buy those CDs. Hope that's okay. I'll keep my eye on my PayPal, so get buying, and hopefully I'll see you on tour.
Well folks, that was Dan Peach of Lesbian Bed Death. So we obviously spoke about their music video, The Witching Hour. Please do go and check that out on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel, and that'll keep you up to date with the upcoming music videos that they've actually got in production as we speak.
Yeah.
Make sure you give them a follow on Facebook, and if you can, attend any of the gigs that are coming up, because it's super important that you do go and physically support. That'll keep the music scene alive.
Yeah, going forward for sure.
Yeah, it's really important. As for our channel, if you can like, subscribe, and if you liked it, comment. If you didn't comment, we promise not to get too butthurt if the comments are that we are shite.
We won't get butthurt.
It is what it is. So sleep well.
Sweet dreams.
So guys, a little bit of a secret. We can never remember the questions that we want to ask. So we got absolutely fucking blind drunk on this stuff called dragon soup, and our German Jäger before this interview. So actually, if it's terrible or the questions don't make sense, we apologise in advance. But your hosts tonight are not just Evelyn and Kerry, they are drunk Evelyn and Kerry.